Tales from the Dark Multiverse, Batman Knightfall Issue 1 sees the moment Batman killed the Joker, which thanks to a toxin turned him into the Batman who laughs. The being known as Tempus Fuginaut watches on, knowing that there is a great crisis coming, and today he is taken to the Dark Multiverse to see if there are any worlds left with heroes that could be useful in the coming fight. The being stops at a world where Batman is broken by Bane, and he chooses Jean-Paul Valley as his replacement, until Valley uses the Batman name to kill criminals, forcing Bruce to return, only to then be stabbed and killed by the stronger Jean-Paul. Jean-Paul says that Bruce was right in making him his replacement, and he is what Gotham needs. In the year that followed, Jean-Paul purged all of Gotham's crime, ripping it down and building a new Gotham in its place. 30 years later, Gotham is now secure, as at the Dumas home, the former Wayne Manor, Madeline tells a weakened Jean-Paul about the outsider Luis Ramos, who was caught intending to do harm to the city, and Penguin was the one who provided him safe passage into it. She says that Cardinal apprehended Ramos before he could do anything, but he isn't saying anything. Talk turns to the outside world, where the Woodrue pandemic has caused the sheer number of bodies that are being dumped into the Lazarus pit to come back half dead, thanks to the pit losing power. Jean-Paul isn't concerned with the outside world, instructing Torchbearer to get Cobblepot and Ramos, since he will be elsewhere. Madeline knows today is the day, and says that every year it plays out the same, so why not just stop it? But Jean-Paul says he made a promise, and what are they without the staples of tradition? Donning his suit, he powers up with Venom, reminding Madeline Torchbearer and Cardinal have his proxy and they are to deliver judgment. Jean-Paul heads to Wayne Tower, talking with someone about how they always meet on this specific day of the year, and hopefully today's the day they finally admit the truth. It's revealed he is talking to a barely kept alive Bruce Wayne, who is nothing more than a head and a torso in a box. Bruce is surprised it's taken him this long to deal with Oswald, and Jean wonders if he's got his approval, but Bruce says that he's got his disdain. Bruce is overcome with pain thanks to his seizures, which are growing worse, but they are not enough to kill him. Jean-Paul says that Bruce acknowledging the peace he offers would end the pain, but Bruce wonders about all the pain he caused Dick, Tim, and Alfred and everyone else. Jean-Paul says that he did what none of them could because Bruce was frightened to rule the people of Gotham, and Jean-Paul was always the Batman Gotham needed. Bruce refuses to yield, saying Jean is a weak and paranoid man, and his grasp on reality is slipping, so once the next crisis comes, he will fail. Jean-Paul takes his leave as Cardinal and Torchbearer capture Oswald and Ramos, who beg for a moment to discuss what they have been doing, and knowing that they could benefit the men. Torchbearer, however, kills Penguin, saying Ramos is charged with unlawful entry into the city. Ramos says that he is just the beginning and nothing will stop the reckoning as Torchbearer kills him, leading a chant in the name of Gotham. Across the city there is a series of explosions, prompting Jean-Paul to action, learning from Torchbearer and Madeline that the Purgatory has been compromised and their main cathedral has been raided. Jean-Paul plans on taking the coup head-on as around Gotham, riots break out. A young man sneaks across the river into the city, radioing to his partner that he will see them in the tunnels. Below Wayne Tower, the man takes out the guards before going up to the tower and meeting Bruce, saying his name is Torn, and he is there to liberate Gotham. Torn goes to see Bruce as more guards arrive, and he goes to surrender but wonders if he mentioned to Bruce who his father is, as his muscles grow and he kills all of the men. Bruce learns that this boy is the son of Bane, and his muscles naturally produce venom since his father took so much of it, it mutated his genes. Torn can't wait to team up with the true Batman, telling the disabled Bruce that he's got a plan to get him back into action. At the cathedral, Jean-Paul and his team fight the rioters, killing them, but soon a voice says that the tactics the rioters are using are made to make him look weak. Jean-Paul is indeed weakened as Madeline tells him about a portion of the East City sinking into the ocean. Juicing himself up on venom, Jean-Paul heads out to save that side of Gotham, as under the city, Bruce asks Torn if he ever met his father, but the boy tells him that Azrael killed him many years ago. Another seizure racks Bruce's mind as he tells the boy Azrael cut off one of Bruce's limbs every day of the year. Bruce says that he has conviction as the arriving Shiva says that Jean-Paul is besieged by weakness. Shiva says that she is returning to finish what they started when Bruce sought out to regain the mantle and his city all those years ago. Bruce wonders why she is doing this, and Shiva says that when he fell, Gotham fell as well, plus Torn is itching to get revenge on the man who who killed his father, so the League of Assassins have been planning this for years. Bruce knows they don't need his help then, but Shiva tells him that if Gotham opens its doors again to the world and sees he's fighting with them, then the world will be able to stand again. She also says that he will too, since she activates a device that will help Bruce get his body back and become the Batman the city needs. At the eastern coast, Jean-Paul tries to lift a part of the city that has sunk as he is visited by the Saint Dumas, who says he's always been there in Jean-Paul's greatest moments of weakness to watch the man fail. The ghostly vision tells him Bruce was right and that he is slipping. Jean-Paul says that he is the one true Batman as he pushes the building up, but he is soon engulfed by the rubble, as Dumas says that he is just another man's placeholder. Jean-Paul is fished out of the water by Cardinal and Torchbearer, learning that their forces are securing the city but the war still rages on. Torchbearer tells him to retreat for now, but Jean-Paul refuses, saying that he just needs a boost. He is taken to the manor where, upon going to his venom reserves, he finds they are all gone. Torn and Shiva arrive, revealing that they took it and they were aided by Madeline, who says that while she loves Jean-Paul, she has seen his reliance on venom get out of hand and what it has done to him, and despite her pleas, he never gave up. Jean-Paul has Cardinal kill the woman as he faces the two heroes. Torchbearer isn't impressed, thinking that the two kids have come for him alone, but they aren't as Batman arrives. Jean-Paul flies into a rave as the cave explodes thanks to Shiva's bombs. Torn grabs Jean-Paul, glad he made it this far since he was looking forward to killing the man who killed his father. Torn, however, is slashed across the face by Jean-Paul as Shiva comes to his aid. Batman, meanwhile, takes Torchbearer and Cardinal, using his new nano-bat powers to turn into a flock of bats, disappearing up to the roof of the manor. Bruce fights the villains, saying that his new nano-bat tech gives him reach and power like never before, and since he gains everyone's genetic material with just a touch, it's not like he's killing them since they still live on through him. He beheads Torchbearer before dropping Cardinal back through the hole in the house, making him slam into the cave floor dead. Jean-Paul meanwhile gets the upper hand on Shiva, knocking her away and going to Torn, telling them that if he can't have his venom, he'll just have to find another source. Jean-Paul rips the boy's arm off, drinking his venom-laced blood before attacking Shiva again. Torn uses one of Cardinal's blades to cauterize his wound as Batman returns, but he is caught by Jean-Paul. Bruce uses his suit's tech to get away, but Jean-Paul throws the cave's giant penny at the heroes, trapping them in Rubble as he says that Bruce was right to be afraid, since he is too strong to fail. Suddenly, Jean-Paul is stabbed in the back by Torn, who grabs the man and breaks him over his knee, paralyzing the villain. The heroes know the fight is over, and Torn knows that they can finally reconnect Gotham and give the people hope, but Batman says it's far too late for that. Bruce suddenly kills Shiva and Torn with the suit, telling the crippled Jean-Paul that he had to watch for 30 years as he perverted his life's work and name. But Jean-Paul wasn't wrong when he said that he did keep the city alive, and his biggest mistake wasn't choosing Jean-Paul to take over, but it was relying on anyone but himself. But now he never has to do that again, since Gotham is his and he is hers. Tempus knows that this is a choice that should never have been, and it took many decades for Bruce to succumb to the darkness and become Batman the Broken. Tempus thinks that perhaps he was wrong in thinking the Dark Multiverse might yield heroes that will help in the coming crisis, as Batman hangs Jean-Paul Valley out in the city where everyone can see the defeated villain. Tales from the Dark Multiverse Batman Knightfall issue 1 was a really awesome and really violent look into the Dark Multiverse, putting a spin on a classic storyline. I very much liked what exactly Jean-Paul did when he became Batman and how really it could have happened in the main universe. Scott Snyder and Kyle Higgins did a great job of making lots of things look very familiar and feel very familiar, but then putting spins on them where you never really know where the story is going to go next. Like with Bruce being basically a RoboCop head in a jar for most of the issue, and including the metahuman son of Bane as a good guy who at the end gets his arm ripped off and actually ends up breaking the Batman. The framing with Tempus looking to recruit heroes for a coming crisis is really interesting, and I'm intrigued to see if that actually pays off, whether it be in Scott Snyder's Justice League book or a impending crisis that is definitely going to be happening to the DC universe in the coming years. I'm going to give this issue a 9 out of 10.